Hey there, I'm Dr. J.D. Handschuh, and I'm one of the trombone professors here at Kennesaw State University. And today I wanted to give you a little bit of a demonstration of the 2021 Georgia All-State Symphonic Band bass trombone etudes, as well as some hopefully useful ideas for your preparation of these same etudes. First, let's check out etude number 1. Okay, so just a few things here. Firstly, you'll notice that I perform this at a slightly slower tempo than what's marked, about 72 beats per minute. And while the marking does say quarter note equals 80, it also says adagio molto espressivo, which I take generally as meaning quite a bit slower. But instead of turning it into a funeral dirge, I decided to just back off the tempo a tiny bit, and I found that this lets the music breathe a little bit more, I can be a little bit more expressive, and I don't feel hurried at all. Next, I would highly recommend marking all of your breath marks. You can look here at my sheet music, and I've marked all of my breaths in red lines. Now, you can feel free to copy mine, but you'll probably find that you might need more breaths, you might need fewer breaths, you might need breaths in different places. So it would be best for you to experiment and find out exactly where you want to breathe. Now, if you don't do this, you might find that you're gasping for air and you might end up on the floor passed out, and we definitely don't want that. And then finally, a few other things. Listen for intonation, particularly on high Ds, and those will show up a few times in this piece, most notably in the final one underneath the fermata near the end. Now, these notes tend to be really pretty flat on some trombones, so check with a tuner that you're close to pitch. Also, consider that all dynamics in this are relative. All dynamics in general are very much relative. As a bass trombonist myself, I understand the tendency and the temptation to see forte, fortissimo, and get a little carried away. I'm just as guilty as the rest of us. I've had more than one string player give me a pretty nasty look during rehearsals for being maybe just a little too loud. Now, with that said, these louder dynamics should be beautiful and full and singing rather than trying to blow down the walls. So now, let's take a look at etude number 2. Okay, so this is obviously a much different style than the first excerpt. The first thing you probably notice is that I also brought the tempo slightly down in this one as well, from dotted quarter note equals 78 to closer to dotted quarter note equals 72. I did find that 78 felt very frantic, very hurried, and it didn't allow me to play with the style and dynamics that I really wanted to. Now, this was a personal choice, so you can absolutely feel free to ignore this advice and go with the marked tempo if you would prefer. Regarding style, the most important things I can say here are that this should be light and that you should not think of these 16th note staccatos as short. They should be articulated, they should be separated, But if we think of these as short, especially at this quick tempo, it can result in the music sounding pecked and choppy, and we do not want that. I like to think of a cellist playing staccato with the bow. Each note should have a nice full body to the sound without feeling clipped. You can also feel free to add a slight ritardando in measures 15 and 16 as you approach the fermata. For me, this helped connect the faster music of the first two lines to this fermata, and it also keeps it from sounding like you've been speeding on the highway and suddenly you see a police officer on the side of the road and have to slow down suddenly. We don't want that. We want it to all make sense in context. Now lastly, if you're one of those lucky bass trombonists who not only have a double valve instrument, but an instrument with independent valves that allow each valve to work by itself, there's a great little trick that can help with the technique required in this etude. Using your second valve to play C's in second position, or if you have a G valve rather than the more common G flat valve, you can play this in third position, I feel is far more useful than playing that same note with the F attachment. And what this does is allows you to start the slide moving in some of these quicker spots so that you have just a little bit more momentum getting to fourth position rather. Now, hopefully some of this has been helpful to you in your preparation of these etudes. And if you have any more questions, any questions whatsoever, whether it be about the trombone, Allstate, music in general, or Kennesaw State University, please don't hesitate to contact me via the email address listed at the bottom of the video. And lastly, good luck, and I hope to hear from some of you soon.